Let us understand motivating factors for international marketing. So basically there are several factors or motivators that induce business firms to enter in global markets. Now business firms are nowadays very much motivated to enter into global markets, that is international markets. Now what is the reason behind it? What are the motivators behind it? To understand that, the motivators are divided into two groups. The first one is firm specific factors and another one is external environmental factors. Okay. Now from the next slide we will understand the firm specific factors. Now let us understand the first firm specific factor, that is rate of profit. So for certain products like handicraft products, pharmaceutical products or services like software services, there the rate of profit is more because export businesses may have higher profits than the domestic market, and this is possible in these kind of goods. And at times export marketing may help to increase the rate of profits of the domestic market due to the increase in goodwill. So products like handicraft, pharmaceutical and software, these products have a demand worldwide, therefore the rate of profit is always going to be high. And the rate of profit in the domestic market can also be high because there will be an increase in goodwill and reputation, because now the firm is also exporting goods worldwide. So that is first firm specific factor, that is the rate of profit. Let us go to the next point. Now the second point is recovery of research and development expenses. Now firms spend heavily on certain sectors like pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, computers, software. They do that to develop new and innovative products and improved version of the products. But at the same time, the product life cycle of such products are very much short. They are short. The product life cycle is short. Now for those who don't know what is product life cycle, so in the lifetime of the product goes through various stages. The first stage is product development stage. So this stage is around over here where you haven't started actually selling the goods. So here you are measuring the sales and here you are measuring the time. So then when you introduce your product, that is your introductory stage, then your product is going to grow because people are going to start buying. After a point of time, the product life cycle will reach to its maturity stage. In this stage, your sales are stagnant. For a long time, your sales are stagnant, and after that, it goes through the decline stage. So normally, the product goes through these many stages in their product life cycle. So there are 5 stages. First one is the product development stage, introduction stage, growth stage, maturity stage, and the decline stage. Now for products like biotechnology, pharmaceuticals, computers, software, all of these things, the product life cycle is very much short. Now for firms who are manufacturing all of these things, they can go into international marketing, and it will be very much beneficial for them so that their sales can increase through exports, and at the same time they can recover all of their R&D expenses. R&D expenses is nothing but the research and development expenses, because as you know that these products have to be improved constantly, have to have a new version, they should develop new products. So for that they have to spend heavily on research and development expenses. So sectors like pharmaceutical, biotechnological or computer related sectors, they should always enter into international marketing or export marketing, so that they can recover their research and development expenses. Let us go to the next point. Strategic vision. Certain companies and certain firms have a strategic vision to for their businesses. What can be their strategic vision? The desire to grow and expand, need to be more competitive, to enhance goodwill, to modernize the firm, to diversify the firm, right? So all of these reasons can also lead a company or a firm towards international marketing. Let us go to the next point. Sales and production stability. Export marketing may enable a firm to maintain sales and production stability. For instance, in case of seasonal products, exporting may help to achieve sales stability because the season may be opposite in certain export markets. For example, winter clothing. So, for example, say there is a firm who is selling winter clothes. Okay. Now, winter is just for say 4 months, maximum 4 months in India, whereas in USA it's almost 7 months. So the need for winter clothing is also over here in USA. So what a firm can do is that before the starting of the 4 months or after the starting of the 4 months, after the end of the 4 months, there are still places where winter is going on. So if they are just going to stop at domestic marketing, their sales will go zero after 4 months if they are just going to sell in India. But if they go in international marketing, they will be able to sell their products beyond 4 months, and this will lead into sales and production stability, because if sales are continuous, your production will also be continuous. Let us go to the next point. The next point is extension of product life cycle. We already know that what are the stages in a product life cycle. So we know that as product development, introduction, growth, maturity, and then decline. So introduction, growth, maturity, and the last is decline. But for example, say a product has reached to its maturity stage, say, or you can say it has reached to its decline stage in say home country. Okay, say a developed country, so a developed home country, say it is related to technology. Okay, so if a developed country is selling any technological related goods in its home country and it has reached to its decline stage. Now if such firms enter into overseas market and they sell such goods or they export such goods to less developed countries, then there will be an extension of product life cycle, because even though it had reached to its decline stage in home market, it will be at a growth stage in some another less developed country where that technology was not even introduced. So such firms enter into overseas market to prolong the product life cycle, to extend the product life cycle, right? So this was about this point. Now let us go to the next point. Advantage of monopolistic position. A firm may enter the world markets due to its monopolistic position, and a firm may enjoy monopolistic position due to certain factors such as patent rights, technological advancements, product differentiation. These are the reasons why a firm may enter into export marketing or international marketing. Let us go to the next point. Now we are moving on in the second group, that is external environmental factors. So what are the external environmental factors that actually motivate the business firms to enter into international marketing? So the first point over here is competition in domestic markets. Now what happens is that there is something called as counter competition, which is like a new thing where, for example, now this concept will be understood by an example. So for example, India is the home country and USA is the foreign country. Now what USA is doing is that it is selling goods in India also and it is selling goods in USA also. And what is India doing is that it is just selling goods in domestic market, that is its home country. Now there is a lot of competition because USA is also selling its goods over here and India is also selling its goods in the home market. What India can do is that it can start exporting its goods to USA and not just export it but also use penetration strategy. So when India is going to export goods by using penetration strategy, the competitive strength of USA is going to reduce. So when the competitive strength of USA is going to reduce, now it's going to pay more attention to its domestic market. USA will pay more attention to its domestic market, thus reducing the competition in home market, that is India. So this is about the competition in domestic market. Let us go to the next point. So this is also the reason why firms enter into international marketing, is because they want to reduce the competitive strength of all those sellers who are selling their goods into the home country. Let us go to the next point. Domestic market constraints, meaning domestic market restrictions. So what can be the domestic market restrictions? The first one is saturation of domestic market. For example, there is a product in the home country, in the domestic market, which has reached to its saturation stage, meaning its decline stage or its maturity stage, preferably a decline stage. So if such products are there in the domestic market which have reached to its saturation stage, then such companies, such firms should start selling their goods in other markets, in foreign markets, in overseas markets. They should start exporting the goods in overseas markets because it will help them to achieve sales and production stability. So such firms should enter into international marketing where its product has reached in saturation stage in its home country or it's in domestic market. Second thing is economies of large scale. So in order to take advantage of large scale economies, the companies sell their products not only in the domestic market but also in the international market. And the third one is domestic recession. What is recession? Recession is nothing but a temporary decline in trade and industrial activities. Basically, it is measured by a decline in GDP. So for two consecutive quarters, if the GDP is very low, then there is a state of recession. And so for example, if there is recession in the domestic market, then the business firms can anytime explore the foreign markets. Let us go to the next point. Economic growth. Growth is another major reason for internationalization. The growth potential of many foreign markets is a very strong attraction for foreign companies. Several developing countries like China and India have been growing at a much faster rate than the developed countries. Many multinational companies are eager to establish their foothold in such countries considering future potential. Let us go to the next point. Free trade agreements. A number of countries are active in signing free trade agreements with other countries to increase trade. Such agreements provide an opportunity for business firms to enter in export markets to take advantage of the market potential. So this can also be one of the reason to enter into international market, is because when a country signs a lot of free trade agreements, there is a lot of opportunity that it develops for the business firms to enter into export markets. Let us go to the next point. Government incentives. One of the most important motivator for exporters to export in overseas markets is the government incentives. So the government of number of countries, they give incentives to the exporters to induce them to export. So some of the incentives are like duty drawback, excise exemption, marketing development assistance, export promotion capital goods scheme. So these are nothing but acting as a motivator for the exporters to export the goods in overseas market. Let us go to the next point. Information and media revolution, which is nothing but discussing about digital marketing. So there has been a tremendous growth in the field of information and media. For instance, internet facility has given a big boost to global trade. Now business firms can conduct global operations without much investment in setting up elaborate offices. So business activities in other countries can be conducted through information networks. So things like Amazon, Flipkart, so they do digital marketing, and then you can directly talk with your sellers. That's about digital marketing. So this has also helped people, firms to enter into international marketing. Let us go to the next point. World Trade Organization. Members of the WTO have signed a number of agreements to promote international trade and development. Due to WTO, member nations have reduced a number of restrictions. They have reduced a number of restrictions on foreign investments and trade in goods and services. For instance, the custom duties have been reduced worldwide. This has motivated business firms to enter into the global markets to a greater extent. So these are the reasons why a firm is induced to enter into international marketing. Reduction in